Hey, and a good happy morning, YouTube world. Now, of my many topics today, I'm going to talk about watching survival shows because I myself am very into the whole survival thing. I don't like to call myself paranoid, but maybe I am, because I do believe they can hear you, and I do believe they can see you. And I'm one of those people that really just don't care. I mean, because all the appliances I have in my house, or electronics rather, I have the Dot, I have the Apple phones, I have the Alienware computers, I have the smart TVs. So I'm up to date in the modern era with the electronics and stuff, and even the appliances. But yes, I do believe that they are watching and listening, because how else? And like I asked my Dot the other day, I said, "Are you always listening?" "Only when I hear the awake word." Okay. So that means you're always listening, because how the hell else would you hear the awake word if you weren't listening for it? I mean, it's common sense, people. So your electronics, your smart electronics are always listening. Now, I watch shows according to survival mode, and my two favorite that I get a kick out of are, the one is called The Colony, and it's a show about a viral outbreak, and the so-called VOPA government agency drops these people off in a so-called quarantined or cordoned off block, and they're allowed to go live in these abandoned houses and do their thing. And then, naked and afraid, of course, you strip down everything and they drop you in the middle of the jungle some goddamn where. Now, I gather information from both of these scenarios, and that's why I like watching these shows. However, if I was going to go more realistically, I'd have to say The Colony would be something that I would find that I do find more realistic and more towards something I believe could actually and might actually would actually happen. Because here's the thing. When the end of the world hits, let's just be real now. I mean, some of you might strip down naked and head for the hills. I don't know. What do I know? Right? It could happen. It might be a thing. You could be running around out there naked and afraid. But for the, functioning society, we're not going to strip off our shit and get ghost. It's not going to happen. We're going to start scavenging and see what we can do to rebuild society, which, frankly, in my mind, if the society we had once failed to the point where we are in the colony mode, who the hell wants to rebuild that? But okay, that's what we're going to do, because that's what we know, that's what we're familiar with, and that's what we're going to try to do. Hopefully, when we rebuild it a second time, it will, I don't know, we're humans, we make mistakes, we do stupid shit, but hopefully it will not be as ignorant as it is this time. And let me just throw this out there to future generations who may find this video and may view it, may see it long after I'm dead and long after the end of the world has happened and start to rebuild. Do not bring back food stamps. Do not bring back government assistance programs. If people are hungry, leave them hungry. They get hungry enough, they're going to figure out how to eat, guys. I'm telling you, don't do it. The biggest downfall to our society is government assistance as far as food, housing, finances. I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't bring back food stamps. Don't bring back WIC. Don't bring back government housing. If you're looking at this and you're in the year 30, 40, whatever, I'm telling you, rebuild a society that's strong enough to stand on its own without government assistance. Because, yeah, that was our biggest downfall to start with. You know, you give lazy, ignorant people a way out and they're going to take it. They will not take the time to get educated. They will not take the time to get motivated. And as you have seen, or your ancestors have seen, depends on what era you're looking at this video in. If you're looking at it in the era of right after the global catastrophic event, then you know you have to get up off your ass and take care of security, food, shelter, fire, self-preservation, people. You know this. If you're looking at it a few eras down the road after the global catastrophic event, then you probably weren't a part of the rebuilding, but maybe your ancestors, immediate ancestors were. And I can tell you, they worked their ass off to protect and rebuild and come up with what they had or have, or to get you where you are now. And I'm telling you, if you could go back and ask any one of those people if they sat on their ass, if you could go back and ask any one of them if they stripped naked and ran for the hills, sorry, naked and afraid viewers. It's entertaining. Don't get me wrong. It's even comical. And sometimes I'm rooting for them. And sometimes I feel like they need to take their whiny ass home. And I'm not trying to judge anyone. Don't get me wrong. You know why my happy naked ass ain't out there? Because I ain't that stupid. I'm not going to take my ass out to the middle of Africa, strip down naked. I'm sorry. No. I'm not doing. You know why? Because my lily white ass can't handle all those bug bites. My soft feet. Look, people. See this? I'm used to shoes. Shoes with thick soles. See that? I'm not walking across that shit. Not me. See this lily white ass? I like clothes, people. That's why I'm lily white. I like to stay out the sun. I like to stay out the rain. I'm not into being mosquito buffet, you know. So as entertaining as that show is, and I really can say I have, in all seriousness, I have pulled some knowledge from watching that show. Like, I mean, I get the gist of, you know, starting a fire and building a shelter. Here's the thing. Seriously, though, if the end of the world hits, I'm just not going to strip naked, grab my hunting knife and my fire starter, and head for the hills. And so, to me, there's no reality in that. I mean, you can grab a little knowledge from that and have fun with it. I mean, I do have a fire starter, but let's be real, people. If the end of the world, if a global catastrophic event happens, dude, we've got fucking lighters around here. I'm grabbing the flipping lighter. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting that shit in my pocket. I'm gonna have my fire starter too. But come on, people, let's be real. Let's be real. Some of us have lighters, okay? Click, click, fire. And not all of us are going to be in the middle of flipping Africa. So I don't get the point, unless it's like this ego thing, which I think for most of them it is. I think it's an ego thing to say, I did this, I survived in Africa, in the middle of bumfuck with no clothes on. I like running around naked. Okay, to each their own. But, you know, again, you're not going to find this lily white running around out there, you know, stark ass naked. And if you do, baby, look, if you find me out there, stark ass naked, one of two things happen. I was high or I was kidnapped. I'm just saying. High or kidnapped. Because other than that, it ain't happening. But The Colony. Now, I love that show because I could see, seriously, I could see after some, you know, global event and half the world dies off from some viral outbreak, because I believe, like I said in the beginning, I believe it's coming. I believe our government is, you know, every year we've got flu, we've got, you know, people dying from what the hell ever. And it's just crazy. It's completely crazy. So I believe that's coming. And here's the thing. I could see me and my family and my friends finding some warehouse and the things that these people have access to in their cordoned off little area of this is where you're supposed to be. Now, I'm going to throw this out there, and I don't know if I should, but I'm going to, because in the event that you are looking at this video at the beginning of or at some part during a global catastrophic event, here's what I'm going to tell you, and this is what I believe, and be careful doing it. You want to stay away from places that people are going to heavily hit, because it can be very dangerous for you, especially if there's not many of you. First off, you want to travel in numbers. You want to travel in a pack mentality. You want to know exactly where you're going, exactly what you're looking for, and exactly what you're doing. And you want everyone in your pack who is going to scavenge with the pack mentality on the same page. You don't want to get there and see, oh, shiny, and that's what everybody's running for. This one's running for that. This one's running for that. No. You want people with you with the pack mentality of this is what we're going to get and this is what we're going to grab and get gone. So here's what I want to tell you. Stay away from highly trafficked places, which will be the first place people will go during that time. You want to stay away from strip malls, grocery stores, places like Walmart, Target. Stay away from those places. Stay away from gas stations. Stay away from places like hospitals. Now, I'm going to name off a few, because I know people actually watch these videos. I'm going to give you a few secrets, but not many, because, hey, I got to survive in those times too, and I don't want you hurting me or mine. But if you find yourself in a global catastrophic event and you're in need of food, supplies, medical, things like that, here are places that I am pretty sure will not be the first place for someone to go when they're thinking of food and medical. Here's what you want to do. You want to hit veterinary offices. Okay? Now be careful doing this. And hey, if you see my ass there, don't fuck with me, because I'm the one that gave you this idea. We can share what's there. All right? Remember this face, because I'm not an enemy. By the way, my name is Six. So if you see me there, say, hey, Six, I saw your video. All right, we can share what's there. Other than that, believe me, I'm going to be armed and we'll have a problem. But anyway, let me tell you, for medical supplies, 9 out of 10, you can go to your local veterinary offices. People are not going to think, oh, let me go to a vet office for medical supplies, because they're going to be too busy thinking hospital, pharmacies, grocery stores. And that's where the bulk of your crowds will be. So, most people are thinking vets for animals, and they're not going to be trying to vet their animals. But I'm telling you, go to your veterinary office, your local veterinary office, and any other urgent care vet facility. Now, stay away from the urgent cares for humans, because that's going to be the mentality of the majority. And again, you don't want to end up in that situation. But most people won't be thinking, most people won't be thinking vet's office. But here's the thing. With veterinary medicine, their medicine is human medicine. And I know this for a fact because I used to be a pet foster. And I've worked with places that foster pets and that take care of pets and that adopt pets out. And they used to take my expired medication or whatever medication I had and didn't use. And the basics is Tylenol, antibiotic, antiseptics, germ killers, painkillers. They will have hypodermics. They will have IVs. They will have the gauzes. They will have the painkillers. They will have all that. And let me tell you something. They will even have antidepressants. They will have whatever you're looking for, pretty much. The same medication that is in the urgent care for humans and the hospitals and the doctor's office, I guarantee you is going to be at your vet clinics. Now, that's for medication. Now, places you want to go look for food that most places or most people, the crowd won't be at, because it'll be the last thought on their mind. For food, you want to go to places like, let's see. I would venture to say your neighbor's house. You want to make sure your neighbor's not home, because if they are, you don't want to intrude on them, and they're going through the same shit you're going through. You don't want to take their shit if they need it, and hey, y'all are neighbors, and I would say your neighbor's house. I would say if you can get a vehicle in that time, then get a vehicle. If your neighbors are gone, but you knew them. Now, I don't know my neighbors. I know them to say hey. I know them, to wish they're okay. I know them to speak to them once every 3 months in passing. I'm not really a people person in person. I don't like people. Sorry. I just don't. I mean, people are judgmental, messy, want to be in your business, and that's my neighbors, But anyway, if you're looking for food, I would venture to say, in all honesty, I'm not really sure where you would go find food that people wouldn't be bombarding or gang rushing because of the times. Now, if you're looking for clothes, I can say carefully check out places like thrift stores, abandoned homes. If you're looking for just in general supplies like soap, maybe food, clothing, stuff like that, I would seriously suggest checking out nearby homes that may have been abandoned, because in the very beginning, people are going to be scouting. So you want to be careful. If in the very beginning where you are, if you have firearms, if you have weapons of any sort, I would definitely have them on me. If you can bring people in that are like-minded, then I would say be very careful in building your colony of people. At the same time, there's safety in numbers. So I would just say be careful who you bring in, who you don't bring in, and if you have the opportunity now, before that event happens, then gather those people, start scouting out, where would I get food if something went down? Where would I get resources from? Another thing you might want to scout out, which I have already done, is in your town or surrounding towns, where can you get things like solar panels? Where can you get things like tools? Where can you get things that can be useful in the building or the remaking of, whatever might have been destroyed? Also, you might want some hunting and fishing equipment, because again, grocery stores probably won't be an option. So you might want to do some live traps. You might want to do some fishing poles. You might want to start growing slowly your own food, as far as like I grow around my house. I grow things like onions. I've just planted some bell peppers the other day. I've got potatoes growing literally in pots in my house. I had tomatoes growing outside, but the winter kind of killed them off, and I just haven't, taken the time to restart those. But I mean, just even if you're unsuccessful in growing these things, get a feel for growing them, because you never know. You just never know when you might need to know that. There's different things too that you want to have people with different skill sets in your group, because you never know what you don't know that they might know. Here's the thing. I've never done it, but I have every confidence in the skills that I'm pretty sure I could do. Now, here's what I have done. I have done fishing, and I know how to clean most any kind of fish. I've never done it, but I have a basic idea of how to clean a turtle. I've never actually hunted or killed any animal of any sort, any bird, any deers, anything to that nature. However, I'm pretty sure I have a basic idea of how to go about doing that, and I think that if I was in a position where I had to do it, I think that I would probably have a basic idea of how to do it well enough that the first couple of times I may do a sloppy job, but over time I would get better and better. It's like trying to draw a perfect circle. The first few might be messed up, but by the time you get to the 10th one, it's close enough. I'm pretty confident in those kind of skills. Now, here's a tip. If you're watching and you might need to know this, because I'm sure canned goods will become a desperate commodity. So when you're dealing with canned goods, if you don't have a can opener, or even if you have a knife, don't use your knife to pry open cans, because that will eventually wear on your blade and it will dull your blade. And then when you need that knife for whatever else, then it will be too dull. Here's what you want to do. You want to find like a little patch of cement, like a small, whatever, maybe a driveway or a piece of road, and it doesn't matter if it lays flat or if it's bumpy. You want to take your can, and on the top end, which is going to be rigided, and you want to turn it over and just rub it like this on that cement, and rub it around, rub it back and forth, rub it around. And I've tried this, and I actually got this tip off of one of these shows. I think might have been The Colony maybe. But what it's going to do is that seal right here what it's going to do is it's going to wear away at that, and then you could take your pocket knife and pop it open, and you don't have to use your blade to cut it. Just go around, rub it back and forth, and that does actually work, because me and my boys tried that a couple of times with different cans, and so that actually works. Now here, we're in an era now where most cans have the little pop-up thing. But again, if your little pop-up thing comes off, then you can use that method. And I hope that works for you. It really worked for us. Now, there's so many different ways that you can build a fire pit. You can start with pretty much anything that's round, guys. You don't get anything plastic, okay? But you can pretty much start with anything that's clay, like a clay planting pot. You can anything that's metal. You can actually take a metal cooking pot and put a couple of coals at the bottom, put your rack on top, and light it even in a little pot, like a little cooking pot. So if you go in and you scavenge and you find small pots, big pots, you can use those. Find you some kind of grid. And you can use pretty much anything for a grid that's metal, like cooling pot coolers. Like I have in my house, it's basically it's just a wire rack that you set on the table, and then you put the pot on top of it so the pot can cool, or your cookie sheet can cool, or your pizza can cool. So any kind of cooling rack you could set on top of the pot with the coals at the bottom, and then throw your meat on top or whatever it is you're trying to heat up. So that's another tip. So the can and the fire pit pot. If I was you, I would advise you to watch these shows and come up with your own ideas, and just see what could possibly happen. Now again, like I said, I believe the colony is probably going to be your more realistic, this could actually happen type scenario, versus Naked and Afraid. Because again, I don't see anybody that I know, when something catastrophic happens or the end of the world happens, I don't know anybody that's going to just, throw the clothes off and go woohoo and run off into the sunset. It could happen. I don't know. I mean, I like to think my crazy's big, but I'm sure there's people out there with bigger, and it could happen, and kudos to those people. But for the realistic people, The Colony is the name of it. It's called The Colony, and there's season 1 and there's season 2. So, and you'll know you're watching the right one if they start talking about the viral outbreak protection agency or something to that effect. But the government agency that was built for that experiment is referred to as VOPA. So I believe it is the Viral Outreach Protection Agency. And basically these people have lived through a catastrophic event of some kind of virus manifested and ended up killing off half the world. And these people were survivors of this event. And so they are trying to make it in a screwed up world. So I would advise you to go watch it. I mean, I've found it on YouTube, and they have, I don't know if they're taping anymore, so I haven't seen any new episodes, which I would love to, but they have season 1 and 2, and I believe each show is an hour long, and I think season 1 might have had 12 episodes, and season 2 might have had 12 or 13, I'm not sure. But basically, they are living 50 days in this quarantined, cordoned off place, I know, I think it's season 2. No, maybe it's season 1. It's season 1 where they're actually in the projects of New Orleans, which is where I'm from. And basically they've quarantined it off, and they're near the bayou, and they're in New Orleans. And these places, these buildings were completely destroyed by Hurricane Katrina. And so what they've done is, I guess they got permission to go film in these buildings, in these areas. So that was really interesting to me, because that's where I'm from. And that's where I spent the majority of my life, was in New Orleans, Louisiana. So, you know, to see that show and think, wow, I could have been there. I could have been a part of it. I had, fortunately for me and my family, I had moved to Missouri before Katrina hit. And I think it was probably maybe a year before. I mean, I had just gotten out. So, you know, that was really something that hit home for me, because where they filmed this show was not very far from where I had pretty much given birth and raised my kids, and where I was raised at. So it really hit home as, wow, this could really be. And so, you know, it was really interesting to me. But anyway, I'm going to get up from here and let y'all take the opportunity to go look up those shows again. The more entertaining one is Naked and Afraid. And they have Naked and Afraid XL. They have Naked and Afraid All-Star. They have Naked and Afraid fan version, I believe. And they do different time periods. The fan version is like 14 days. And then the normal Naked and Afraid is like 20 to 21 days. And then XL, I believe, might be 30, 35 days. I'm not really sure, so don't quote me on that. I just know they're different days and different amounts of people. So check that out. Check those names out. And then The Colony. The Colony, check that out if you're looking for a more realistic view of that. And before I go right quick, just a quick reminder that I am other places on the web doing other things besides talking about being paranoid. And if you want to look me up, feel free to do that. Now, also another quick reminder, guys, I do not, on any of my channels, private chat, email chat, video chat. I'm not looking for stranger love, so yeah. Let's not do that. I have people, for whatever reason, on Instagram, they want to video chat me, and they don't even know me. And I'm thinking, why the hell would you want to video chat someone you don't know? You just call them out the blue, and God forbid I'm wrapping up my murder scene, and you want to video chat? Like, anyway, yeah, never a dull moment in my world, people. But anyway, happy Wednesday, January the 8th to you, and have a great one, guys.